Here is a chart of some of the greatest shooting rookies of all time, featuring guys like Tyler Hero, Luka Doncic, there's Damian Lillard, here's Steph Curry, and there's Keegan Murray in his record-setting season. This is Kon Knueppel, and he is about to shatter the rookie record. The 2025 NBA draft class might just go down as one of the most talented draft classes of all time. Headed into the season, it was the Duke Blue Devil Cooper Flagg who was expected to dominate all rookies, and he was the heavy favorite to win Rookie of the Year. And while Cooper Flagg has shaken off his rough start, I want to talk about his former teammate and somebody who might have just emerged as a favorite to win Rookie of the Year, Kon Knueppel. Knueppel is having a historic start to his rookie season, but he is far more than just a sharpshooter. So far, Kon is averaging around 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists on a 61% true shooting percentage. At the moment, he ranks top 10 in total three-pointers made, he's second in total points for the Hornets, possibly the most efficient rookie in his draft class in terms of volume. He gives positive minutes both on offense and defense, and he actually has positive advanced stats, which is somewhat rare for a rookie to do. While Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, and Dylan Harper headline this draft class, it's the 20-year-old drafted right after them who might just be playing the best. Now, his 40% from 3 as a rookie is already pretty insane, especially when you look at a lot of rookies sometimes have a shooting slump at the start of the year just because of that transfer from college to the NBA. But it's the volume that he's shooting at that's absolutely insane. In 2023, Keegan Murray made 206 three-pointers, breaking Donovan Mitchell's record by a pretty wide margin. However, Knueppel is on pace to destroy that record, as if he also played in 80 games, he is on pace to knock down 256 three-pointers, the 38th most ever made in a season. And even if that doesn't happen, which at this rate only really injury would stop it, even if that doesn't happen, Knueppel is an insane shooter, but we knew that about him coming out of college. In his year at Duke, Knueppel was one of the best pure shooters in the entire nation. He had about 2 three-pointers per game on 5 attempts, and he led his conference with a 91% free throw percentage. It's no surprise that Knueppel has modeled his game after a fellow sharpshooter, Klay Thompson. Kon draws inspiration from Klay's mechanics and his ability to shoot the ball at some of the toughest of angles. Beyond that, he's also called Klay the greatest off-ball player of all time, even saying he is better than Steph Curry. And despite feeling old, Klay responded with him giving it advice to never lose confidence in shooting the rock. In watching Knueppel throughout the season, the similarities are there between the two. The first thing I noticed with Knueppel is his form. He has a great, fundamentally sound form, especially in his upper body, with a rapidly quick release. His shots are incredibly consistent no matter what angle he's shooting at. It's just very aesthetically pleasing, and I swear when I look at his form, I see similarities to Klay's form. But it's the way that Knueppel gets into his shots that probably impressed me the most. Now, he does have a lot of catch and shoot opportunities, which he does hit at a solid rate. However, he also has a lot of shots off of the dribble, off of a pump fake, or off of a sidestep that he can hit pretty solidly as well. He loves to let a defender fly by to hit a sidestep 3 that would make Jason Tatum jealous. Charlotte loves to use him in handoffs, and just like prime Klay, he is great at immediately turning around, squaring up his body, and finding the rim. Knueppel has even talked about how Klay can hit shots and square up his shoulders even if his legs are facing a different way, and you can see that inspiration on a lot of these plays. Interestingly enough, a lot of Knueppel's offense, a lot of his scoring, it actually comes from him setting the screen. So despite being around a 6'6" small forward, he's actually a pretty prominent screen setter for the Charlotte Hornets, and it gets him a lot of good opportunities per game. He's one of the deadliest pick and fade targets in the NBA, but even outside of the pick and fade, he's mastered at what's called a ghost screen. Essentially, a ghost screen is faking setting a screen to throw the defense off before flaring out for a shot. The defense is expecting a screen, so they get in pick and roll coverage, but instead of going for a pick and roll, he just immediately runs out and usually can get a pretty good look, or it puts the defense in scramble mode. He does this multiple times per game, and usually every single game it gets him a good opportunity from 3, or like I said, it puts the defense in a weird situation that allows him to create in other ways. We've only seen his on-ball creation lately, but I do see some potential in how he's able to use pump fakes and sidesteps to get himself open. I also want to note that Knueppel is also one of the best rookies that I've ever seen in getting himself open for a shot off the ball. He excels at filling the lanes properly, he makes himself visible to the ball handler very well, or he does a great job just adjusting from the defense and finding the little holes within his zone or just when his man is not paying attention to him. And if you look at Knueppel's stats, like I said, for a guy who scores 17 points per game and shoots around 40% from 3, you would think that he is just a sharpshooter and can't really do a whole lot else. In reality, that couldn't be any further from the truth. At the restricted area, he's not overly impressive with about 1 or 2 makes per game at just 58%. However, when you take a few feet back but you're still in the paint, he becomes near elite. Knueppel has a great floater game, it's often helped out with a hesitation move, and he's not bad at hitting an awkward layup or two either, possessing a great touch in this area. So far, Knueppel's making only 1 shot per game at 57% in the paint outside of the restricted area, but that is actually a better mark than both Anthony Edwards and Victor Wembanyama. In fact, from this area, he's shooting around the same as Steph Curry this season. He gets a lot of looks in this area after he sets a screen. Instead of rolling hard to the hoop like how you might see a big man do, he kind of more drifts to the open area, makes himself visible, and gets the type of shot he wants. It's not on a super high volume, it's only about 2 points per game. It is a small part to his game, so I don't want to overstate it, but I love the wrinkle that it throws in the Charlotte Hornets offense, and it's really difficult for defenses to defend. Even as a playmaker, I see some solid potential in Kon. At Duke, he averaged just under 3 assists per game, however he was incredibly efficient, having a 2-to-1 turnover ratio. So far that has dropped off in the NBA, but I don't see a major usage in their offense in this regard, as he averages just about 6 potential assists per game. However, from what I've been seeing with Kon, I really like. His shooting already gives him a really good scoring gravity, and he avoids taking overly bad shots. These two aspects really help his teammates get open, and on top of this, he also gets a lot of his assists through a handoff or setting a screen, again making it easier for his teammates to score with his gravity. So far, he's demonstrated great chemistry with his fellow rookie Ryan Kalkbrenner, who I actually just made a video about because he is having a historic rookie season, so after this one, you should go check that one out. But when Ryan Kalkbrenner, Kon Knueppel, and Collin Sexton are on the court together, they outscore their opponents by about 8 points per 100 possessions, a great mark for a not super great team. He's certainly a solid passer for a guy who's by far and away leading all rookies in scoring. Now, I don't really think that Knueppel is going to be like the primary ball handler or primary creator on a team. I could see him being like a secondary or third option in this regard, but at the very worst, I think he's going to just go down as a very solid passing forward. And overall, he's just going to be efficient. I don't really see him being a guy who averages an insane amount of turnovers. Even defensively on a Charlotte Hornet team that's not great on defense, I really don't hate Knueppel. Usually you don't see a lot of really good rookie defenders, and for those who are, they're rarely usable on offense, let alone leading all rookies in scoring. But I would argue that for the Charlotte Hornets, Kon has actually been one of their better perimeter defenders. From what I've noticed so far, he generally does a good job in staying in front of his opponent and getting a respectable contest off. He does really well in navigating over screens, or at least putting up the effort to fight through them. Surprisingly, there are also quite a few plays where he gets a solid stop or a great contest on somebody who is far bigger than him. It's not the most perfect stat in the world, but looking at his on-off metrics, the Hornets defense actually gets better by about 10 points per 100 possessions when he steps onto the court. His individual defensive rating is also about 5 points per 100 possessions better than the Hornets team defense, so there may be some evidence that the eye test is actually backed up through the statistics. And what impresses me the most about him is that he doesn't have the physical tools to be a great defender. He stands just around 6'6", 215 pounds with a 6'6", maybe 6'7" wingspan. Even coming out of college, his athleticism was one of the biggest weaknesses for him, and unlike those who are born to be great defenders, Knueppel is going to have to be somebody who works for it. But as I've talked about with him respecting and wanting to be like Klay Thompson, he also has talked about Klay Thompson's defense and how he wants to resemble Thompson as a two-way player. And with what we've seen at the start of the season, it looks like Knueppel takes pride on that end of the ball, and when you don't have a great defensive team, I especially don't expect rookies of all players to be great defenders, but I don't think that's the case for Knueppel this year. Everything that I've read about Knueppel as a person and as a player is backing this up as well. He's been described as an incredibly mindful and coachable player. Throughout his time in the NBA and at Duke, he's shown a great understanding of the game. He's very open about resembling his game from Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, taking their best parts and adding it to his own. Hornets head coach Charles Lee has called him the most consistent person that he's ever seen, and he's also described Knueppel as somebody who doesn't get too high or too low, which I think is the perfect mentality for a volume shooter who is very young. Kon Knueppel is currently on pace to lead one of the most talented draft classes we have ever seen in scoring, while possibly demolishing a rookie 3-point record, and he is still somehow a positive defender. Not even a month into the NBA and he is already carrying himself as a veteran, giving the Charlotte Hornets hope on both sides of the ball. And Charlotte has certainly knocked it out of the park when it comes to this draft class. Knueppel is currently the leader to win Rookie of the Year, and like I said, is setting records. Zion James is also an amazing shooter on a lower volume, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, whose video you should definitely watch after this, is having a historic NBA season as he is on pace to have the most efficient season in NBA history. Let me say that again, Ryan Kalkbrenner is on pace to have the most efficient season in NBA history, not just amongst rookies, but ever seen. So go check out that video right here. But that is it for this one. If you liked the video, you know what to do, and I will catch you guys all next time.